Hey everybody, it's Eugene Driscoll of valleyindy.org. Welcome to Navel Gazing, the Valley Indy podcast. Valleyindy.org is a local news site covering Ansonia, Derby, and Seymour in Connecticut's lower Naugatuck Valley. I'm recording this at 5 p.m. Wednesday, November 9th. Yesterday was the election. We had state elections and one local question on the Derby ballot. Yesterday, by the way, was Tuesday, November 8th. In one of the most contested and competitive races locally, we saw Rochelle, a state representative, Rochelle, a Democrat from Ansonia, be reelected to represent District 104 in the State House of Representatives. She captured 3,371 votes. That's about 52.7% of the vote. Josh Shuart, her opponent, a Republican, a college professor, and the president of the Ansonia Board of Aldermen, took home 3,022 votes, or roughly 47.2%. So I'm going to play some clips from the both of them in this broadcast, starting with Rochelle's victory speech, if I queued it up correctly. But before I do that, I just wanted to mention quickly that Veterans Day is coming up on Friday, November 11th. I just want to take a moment to promote two ceremonies that are happening this week. Just give me a moment to share my screen with everybody. So we've got in Ansonia, this is, as you can see from the City of Ansonia website, November 11th, 11 a.m., they have Veterans Day program at Veterans Park, which is right next to Ansonia City Hall, 253 Main Street. Master of Ceremonies is Patrick Henry. So please go support. Then in Derby, there is a Veterans Day ceremony scheduled on the Derby Green, Friday, November 11th, 10:30 a.m., again on the Derby Green. One thing that'll be happening there is Derby Fire Department Chief David Leonard will be dedicating a new portion of the Derby's September 11th memorial there on the green. So that'll be something different. The guest speaker, by the way, is a retired general from the National Guard and the former Derby Police Department Chief Eugene Mascolo. So we have both of those things happening. God bless America. All right, so here is Rochelle's victory speech. I will warn you, the audio in both Kara's speech and Josh's concession speech are not the best. Recorded on a cell phone in a busy place, loud place, the reporter being as close as she could. So just bear that in mind. It takes you a second for your ears to adjust, but I think you can hear it. Here is State Representative Rochelle first. Well, that's not good. I believe Libsyn is frozen because it keeps doing this to me. Hold on. Let's see if we can get this to play.
The first thank you has to go to the voters of Ansonia and Derby for trusting me to work for them with all of my heart and all of my skills for our community, to make our community a better place for everybody. And I can't thank enough all of the people who got involved in this campaign to talk to our neighbors, to talk to people about the work that we're doing and the work we want to do to help everyone in this community. Thank you to Matt. And I want to thank, just Dad, thanks for being here. I love you. I want to thank everyone that believes in what we're doing for our community and has gotten involved. People who've been doing it as seasoned veterans and people who are doing it for the first time because they care and they want to build a better community. I want everyone to stay involved. This is democracy in progress. This is about all of you having your hand in what we're doing to build a stronger community. So thank you for trusting me. I'm going to fight like hell for all of you and for what we're doing for our community. So just thank you.
Okay, so that was Rochelle saying she's going to fight like hell for her communities now that she's been reelected for a third term to represent the 104th Ansonia and Derby in Hartford. Let me just click on this directly to make sure that it works. Now, this is Josh Shuart's concession speech. Again, the audio here is not perfect, particularly at the beginning. It gets a little more clear as it goes along. Josh spoke for roughly 2 minutes and 32 seconds, although we might have missed the beginning because, like I said, or I don't know if I said this, but in these situations when you're covering an event live, it's not like you see on TV with these campaigns where they tell the press, quote unquote, the exact moment the candidate's going to make a speech. It just sort of happens organically, and then you have to unlock your phone, bring out your app, and all that good stuff. So a lot of times you miss the first couple of seconds. But anyway, I'm going to shut up now.
Also be the best while doing it. And I'll enjoy one of his special recipe Manhattans later in his honor. Actually, one of the quotes that I used in the interview was just a quote out of his Manhattan recipe. So maybe you can find that later. And I want to thank my mother, who actually passed away suddenly about 8 years ago. But I know she's upstairs and very proud of how things went and mostly the way we conducted things. And thank my brothers as well, Thor and Noah, who always were encouraging me. And bottom line is I've basically gone for almost a year without seeing my family. I haven't been up to, my dad lives in Cape Cod. I haven't been up there since maybe January or February. So it's been like a year sacrifice. So I'm looking forward to finally reconnecting with them. And I know I've missed people, I'm looking around. But anyone who's been here, my in-laws, Studleys for showing up tonight, Nick for being outside, he's been all day. I think I've covered pretty much everybody in here, but everyone has helped me at some point. I'll reward your confidence by continuing to work hard for the city. I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but I sort of suspected that, knowing politics as I know it, that campaigns will throw money at incumbents to save them. And I went into this knowing that, or thinking that they were going to throw money at my opponent to make sure that they kept her in office. And I thought, perfect, we're going to get a fire school out of this the last second. We're going to get a bunch of other things that are going to benefit our city. And I'm willing to put myself on the line knowing that that's actually going to happen. And in the end, my opponent apparently is despicable enough that they didn't throw that money at her, but she did get it. It seems that they got enough votes to win tonight. So that's about what I got. And I want to thank everyone again for their help. It looks like a razor-thin margin. And I don't know if that's, as John said, I don't know if that triggers a recount. But that's it. Thanks again.
Okay, real quick, that was Josh Shuart again in his concession speech last night. That was made in front of his supporters at his campaign headquarters in Ansonia. Now, I didn't listen to that speech until this morning. I did play part of it during our live stream last night, but I could only play like a minute and then my phone would shut off. But he said, and I did reach out to him, he said at one point, it sounded like he used the word despicable in reference to Rochelle. And so I reached out to him because I wanted to know, did I hear what I think I heard, or did he misspeak? Did he misspeak in some way? I know I've said things probably during the duration of this podcast where I'll leave out a word by accident and not even know I did it until this is posted and I see it. And I'm like, oh, it completely changes what I meant to say by leaving out a word. I don't know. So I reached out to him and did my due diligence as a local news reporter to be fair and accurate. And he wrote back to me, Josh Shuart, he said, I said, quote unquote, is despicable, which was a direct quote of something she shockingly said to my wife and teenage daughter when the polls closed at 8 p.m. She said my campaign was despicable and disgusting, and I should apologize to her. Unfortunately, without the opportunity to have a public dialogue via the media, the race was relegated to campaign flyers and whatever went on door to door and in private forums, which I was not allowed to join and opposing views were banned from. It was a great time, and I met a lot of awesome people. So getting that response and the part about something that was allegedly said at a polling place, I reached out to Rochelle, sent her Shuart's response, asked her to respond in the interest of fairness. She said, I plan to continue working over the next 2 years, same as I have for the past 4, fighting for the working families and seniors of the lower Naugatuck Valley. It's my hope that we can move past this campaign and all work together toward these goals. There's work to do, and let's get to it. That is that. I want to play now the interview that was part of our 1 hour and 40-minute live stream last night. In case you missed it, the thing about a live stream, it's very much of the moment. So I don't expect people to go back when it's not going on to relive 1 hour and 40 minutes. Although you should. Kurt's great. Stefan Bohuniak, Jim Gilday. I stink, but the rest of them are good. But during that, Kara and then Josh were both gracious enough to be handed a phone and to agree to a live interview. Now, I just heard that Kara had won. I didn't even know really what the tally was at this point, but here is me talking to her. Again, audio is not the best here, but it's also not that bad.
Hello.
Hey, Representative Rochelle, how are you? It's Eugene from the Valley Indy. And she is at her campaign. This is probably, 20, 30 minutes after she declared victory at her campaign headquarters. That's the noise you hear around her.
Doing well. How are you? How is everybody tonight?
Not bad at all. I'm joined by Kurt Miller, who is joining me for this election night punditry. So you've declared victory. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Kara, I'm just shocked because I know 2 years ago when I covered your campaign there in person, we didn't get the results until 10 o'clock. They're here so early. I mean, these are right numbers. Everything is it's not official, but you're confident that you've won tonight.
Well, we got those from City Hall, so I certainly hope they're accurate.
And then, Kara, in terms of this race, I mean, did you think it was going to be close? I know you had a heck of a get out the vote effort underway. What were your thoughts going into this, say, compared to your last two elections?
Well, I mean, we knew it was going to be closer. It's the midterms. And so, traditionally, historically, we know that, the pendulum always does swing back and forth. People are under a lot of stress right now and don't know, with all these forces that are making people stressed out, with the economy and in society right now, we knew that there was going to be some pushback and that the pendulum was going to swing. And also, it's just the turnout is not as high during midterms versus general elections. So we expected it to be a closer race. I'm appreciative. It's about a 10% win. Mostly I just want to thank all of the voters and everyone that's entrusted me to continue working for them in our community. I care very much about the residents of this community and what we're building for Ansonia and Derby in the Lower Valley. And so I just want to thank everyone because we're going to be working hard to deliver as we've been doing and as we'll continue to do for everyone out here.
All right, State Representative Rochelle, I will let you go. I will thank you so much for taking. Okay, and just Kara Rochelle was reacting to the numbers she had from her campaign at the time, which gave her her numbers had her winning a larger percentage than she actually ended up winning. Just for the record, just wanted to point that out. And then next we have Josh Shuart. He called as well. Hopefully I have this queued up in the right place. Let's see.
Hello.
Hey, Josh, it's Eugene. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good. So we got a live stream going, and unfortunately, every Democrat from the Valley's on here. Kurt Miller keeps complaining, so I apologize in advance. But all right, so you're at the end, the literal end of your first campaign for state office. It didn't go the way you wanted. What's going through your head right now? I'm going to ask the basic reporter question, and that is, how do you feel right now?
I feel like I did everything I could. I had the time of my life. I made genuine friendships and partnerships along the way, and I did things my way, and I did things honestly. No matter what anyone says, I was on a campaign to promote myself and what I thought I could do for the two cities, and voters seemingly did not fully agree with that. So it looks like it was razor thin margin, so we'll see how that goes. But I had a great time. My wife joked that regardless of what happened from the beginning, she's like, "This is going in your obituary." So have a good time. I lost a lot of weight. I look a lot better than I did when I started the campaign. I ran through a pair of sneakers. I wore the treads off of them. Just met a lot of great people. And That's all I'll say. I was hoping that I could take my unique skill set and translate that into making some positive change for the two communities. I love both cities. I live in Ansonia. My kids went to school in Derby. I coached and been on boards in Derby. And those are the two, and we go to church in Derby. And, those are the two communities that I love and I live in. And those are basically the only two that I would be interested in representing.
All right. Yeah. So there was Josh. I think that's the last video I'm going to play. Josh lost by 349 votes, if my math is correct. So another thing I just wanted to point out, possibly, if I could, I went back and I was looking at how that race unfolded in the past. So I went back and I was looking at state records that are available on the Secretary of State's website going back to like 2004. And according to what I see, Josh Shuart was actually the best performing Republican in that district since 2004. I'm going to share my screen to let people know what I'm talking about here. But if we look here, here is the 2004 general election. As you can see, at that time, it was Linda Gentile versus, that was the Democrat, versus J.R. Romano. This was in 2004. Vin Tanucci, a Democrat who had held that seat for a long time, decided not to run again. So this was an open seat at the time. And you can see how competitive it was, with Linda Gentile winning 52% of the vote and JR getting roughly 48%. And then if we jump ahead, I think 2006 for some reason isn't posted. I'm not really sure why. But in 2008, you see Linda Gentile, 87% of the vote Democrat got at that time period over her Republican opponent. And I know there's, comparing these elections 2 years at a time, there's always different. If it's a presidential year, they're not exactly apples to apples comparisons, but it's still nonetheless, I think, interesting to go back and look. So that was 2008. You see Democrats, Linda Gentile dominating. In 2010, 66% of the vote over her Republican opponent. It was a rematch then. We go into 2012, 75% of the vote in that particular election there. Republicans, and you can see that the Republican isn't getting more than, it's 24%. So Republicans were really underperforming in those days, it seems like. Oh no, I can't bring up the other one. Come on, get out of here. So I can close some of these and maybe that'll help. So that's 2004. And where was I? 2014. Okay, this was Linda Gentile again getting 66% of the vote. The Republican that year got 33%. And then we go into 2016. This was Joseph Yauman, who is an alderman on Ansonia, the Ansonia Board of Aldermen. You can see sort of there's been this resurgence at this point, and we all know what happened in 2016. So Yauman got almost 43% of the vote to Linda's 57. 2018, a rematch. It's sort of say it exactly the same with, oh, I'm sorry, not a rematch. What am I saying here? This was, I apologize. In 2018, Linda Gentile decided not to run again. So this is the first year match. This is the first time it was an open seat since 2004, where J.R. Romano. So you see, there's definitely, there's been a Republican resurgence in Ansonia, we know, during this time, led by Mayor Dave Cassetti. So that year, Rochelle got 56.9%. Yauman got 43.1%. And then you see that actually the Republicans then went backwards in 2020, with Rochelle getting 59.6% and her Democratic opponent getting 40.4%. So all that being said, I might have just closed it, but Josh Shuart getting 47.2% of the vote, or roughly 47% of the vote, is the strongest showing of a Republican candidate in that district since 2004, when it was an open seat between Gentile and the Republican candidate, J.R. Romano. So I just thought it was something interesting that I came across poking around the internet today. So I'll stop sharing that. But again, that's all I really wanted to do was just play the victory speech and the concession speech. Usually in years past, we would have that on video. I was not able to do that this year. And I guess just a note, I said this a million times during the live stream, but I opted, this year I just didn't have the bandwidth to try to cover the state race in any meaningful way. The Valley Indy, when we launched in 2009, at our height, we had 3 reporters. That was to cover local government. We've never been able to sort of swing any type of meaningful coverage of state politics. And that's that. Anybody has any questions, email my boss. Thanks so much for listening. And thanks again to everybody who participated in the live stream. Thanks to everybody who left comments during that live stream. I really appreciated it. It felt refreshing. And thanks to everybody who threw their name in the circle and spent so much time away from their families to try to better their communities in the state of Connecticut. And that's that.